Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Do us a huge favor. Smash the subscribe button. It was nice to have the week off. Chill. Sit with that loss a bit.
Ooh,
At the same time, see the Jets
painful.
start off hot.
Yep.
So balance. Yin yang.
Yes.
But it's good to be back. Do us a favor. Smash that subscribe button. We appreciate the support. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Check us out also on Reddit and Discord. And don't forget to leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Like I mentioned, we have some Bomber talk from the week off. We have some Jets talk from their first week of the season. So let's get to it. Bomber talk brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, field, or in the stands with a custom airbrushed helmet, goalie mask, or project. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431.
Yeah, and don't forget to tell them that Ray and Benny sent you.
Biggest takeaway, we'll revisit it. We'll open the wound a little bit. We'll pick the scab. Biggest takeaway from the Bomber loss to the Argos.
To me, it's got to be that O line and the 7 sacks that they gave up, protection issues all game long for Claros. I mean, they still got a 5 yard average in the run game, but really only ran the ball 12 times. But yeah, for me, the the weakness or that the O line got exposed very well in that game. And maybe it's just Toronto. It seems to be against Toronto where the Bombers offense has struggled this year, really, right? In the 2 games against them, they've only scored 10, what was it, 11 this game? And then 14 the game before, or even less than that. I can't remember now. So yeah, that O line has struggled in games against Toronto, and that D line for Toronto has feasted.
12 sacks in 2 games. The Bombers have turned the ball over 9 times in those 2 games. And they were able to pressure Caleros without having to deploy a blitz too much, which isn't
Yeah.
good. The running game was okay, but on the goal line with Terry Wilson, and it's not just that play that concerns me about short yardage. There are a couple of occasions now where Wilson has not had the space, and he's not as big, he's not as strong as Strebler, but the holes haven't been there for him to just follow through and just, I don't know, that's a bit concerning against teams like the Argos and also Montreal, who they have to play, but Montreal already lost stuff up. We'll talk about them in a second. And not just the fact that the O-line didn't look very strong and it looked like Liam Dobson got picked on that game, but Buck Pierce and the inability to go to the short passing game earlier on and waiting till halftime to go to it is a little puzzling. You saw that the even when Caleros wasn't getting sacked, the pocket was collapsing. Why not get the ball out of Caleros's hand early, quicker, and earlier in the game? That was a little concerning as well because there's already 3 sacks by halftime
Yeah.
or four.
Or it's more than that. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it's more.
Could be 5 and 2. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But after sack number 3, I would have been like, okay, let's get the ball out of his hands. That call's got to come earlier.
Yeah, you got to definitely make some adjustments as too, if you, especially if you're not getting the time and your O line is having a terrible game. Some adjustments have to be made, and you saw it later because Oliveira ended up with like 6 or 7 catches, right, kind of thing. So he
Yep.
he caught a lot out of the backfield, and again, and that they did that earlier this season. When did they do that? Was it again also against Toronto, or I can't remember what game it was where Claus or
Calgary?
Oliveira had 9 catches, right?
Yeah. Was it Calgary?
Maybe it was. Yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but yeah, it was a lot of passes behind. But so they've done it in the past. So yeah, you got to look at it and go, okay, we're not getting much time. We're getting sacked like crazy.
No.
We got to buy Claus some more time and maybe back these guys off a bit because yeah, it was rough. And like you say on the short yardage, we saw even earlier this year sometime. Strebler started off hot short yardage. And I don't think he ever got stuffed for touchdowns, but there was a lot of 3rd and 1s where they weren't converting as much as they were
Yeah.
earlier in the year. And, that was with Strebler. So now you got Wilson, who's not as experienced back there, trying to do the same thing. And yeah, they're getting stuffed on some of those. And with those D lines that Toronto has, and like you said, Montreal, those will be tough. And Montreal, yeah, they may rest a bunch of guys coming up this weekend, but if you meet them in the playoffs, that's going to be another tough situation that they're going to have to get figured out.
And they got out physical.
Yeah.
They got out bullied. And that's been kind of the constant in these past two Grey Cups.
Yep.
They've been out physicaled and the games have been close. The Bombers, I think, are 2-4 in games that have been decided by less than 3 points this year.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of close games and a lot of close losses.
And they're sub 500 on them.
Yeah. I mean, the Toronto game, the two Toronto games, the Saskatchewan game.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ottawa game, all those games were like, could have gone either way, right? But they just couldn't find ways to finish them. Even in this one, and obviously we're going to talk about this as well, like Sergio Castillo against Toronto. I mean, that's, two games against them where he struggled, hitting,
Yeah.
missing chip shots from inside the 40. Killing it from outside in the 50s, but in the 40s, he's starting to miss. So that was disappointing because there's 5 points there, right? That
Yeah.
would have been enough for the victory. And then the last drive where Claros 1 second too late, took off to try and get that first down and dove through the air and just missed it. But it was just too little too late for that Bomber offense.
So let's move on to the Owls. What do the Bombers need to do to beat the Owls? I'll go on offense and I'll say reestablish that bully ball. Excuse me. Montreal gives up this beer. It's good. Montreal gives up the second most rushing yards per game. So this could be a great opportunity for the Bombers O-line to reestablish their dominance on the line. Especially because Montreal might be holding back some of their players. They really have nothing to play for. Do you think Fajardo will play?
I think he might be like last week where he plays a little bit, but
You
I
think so?
I I thought maybe he wasn't going to play last week at all, and then maybe play a little bit this game, right? Because
Yeah.
they got the bye already, so they're not playing again for another 2 weeks. So I think I could see him getting at least a drive in this game.
Yeah, they should start him and give him some time because not for the benefit of the Bombers, but for the benefit of the Owls. He hasn't looked very good. They
No,
put him in when he didn't have practice for a week or two.
yeah,
Oh, I think they definitely got to play him. But any which way, I'm talking about the Bomber offense right now. Yeah, use the run. Use the run. The other's second against the pass this year. So I don't see the Bombers really airing it out. So maybe again, a situation of using that short passing game and get the ball at Caleros' hands early.
yeah. I mean, obviously, big game, first place on the line. You can win here. They've locked up the West, so it's big, it's hard to know who Montreal's going to be playing, anyways, right? Besides Fajardo, what starters on D are going to be sitting out? We just saw them play BC and kind of get spanked against BC and Vernon Adams there. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who they bring. It's at a home game too, right? So they might play a little bit, guys, a little bit more, but Bombers got to take advantage, whoever they're playing in front of. I mean, this is big. Claros, protect them. You got to get that protection. And like you say, this got to be an Oliveira game. I know we've said that a lot, but when Oliveira is on his game, the Bombers are usually winning. So I'd like to see that happen in this game.
Yeah, of course, you're going to have to face the Vaughn and Noel Thorpe defense, no matter
Yeah.
who is playing. So
Yeah.
maybe he's
Oh
going
yeah.
to try and put some new wrinkles in there that you haven't seen all year. So you always have to be aware of Noel Thorpe. So maybe, you don't see this with the Bombers too often, and you don't see it with Zach Caleros as the more experience he gets. He's not as mobile as he is, but maybe have a moving pocket where he is throwing on the run, where you can kind of unbalance and go heavy on one side and get the protection that you need for Zach Caleros. And that blitz can't come straight at you because you don't know where that pocket is. Maybe that's a way of getting through Noel Thorpe's defense because they got to find a way because they figure something out on a lot of people, but on the Bombers lately.
Yeah, there hasn't been as many rollouts to the right this year that I've noticed as the couple years past, especially with
Yeah.
Dalton Schoen, right?
Yeah.
That one pass where they always had shown this way, the guy that way, and
Absolutely.
you haven't seen it as much. And yeah, you would think that play would be bread and butter when Zach Laros is under pressure like that in a game, but I guess teams are learning it too, and Buck's got to kind of adjust to that and find a new play that was make it your bread and butter here kind of thing, right? Because they need that outlet, especially when that O line is struggling.
Get him on the move. Get him on
You
the
think
move.
any
Time.
changes to the O line? You think this week? Neufeld had a rough game as well. We've seen what Randolph can do in there. Probably too
Randolph's a
late to
good
make those kind
athlete.
of changes.
Randolph is a good athlete. I was
Yeah,
kind of fearing that, and maybe it's because of the time of the year. I'm not too sure what the rules are in regard to practice roster, but I'm surprised that his talent wasn't scooped up off the practice roster because I really like his versatility, and he played very well in different positions when he had to cover Pat Neufeld and when he had to cover Stanley
Stanley
Bryant.
Bryant. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Shoot, who knows? How about defense? Or you got more offense? What the Bombers have to do?
No, that's basically it.
What do they got to do on defense?
You know what? This defense has been playing really well. You know, keep that going. They played really well against Toronto again. They're not the reason for that loss. Jordan Younger has these guys playing lights out. They're bringing back Nick Taylor too. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
a bad sign for Brandon Alexander or what. So hopefully he's okay to go. But Nick Taylor is a good piece to bring back in. But yeah, I don't know. You know, get the only thing against the Argos they didn't have was a sack. You know, so they got to get after if it's Fajardo or Alexander, whoever is in there. Again, that D line has got to ball out, and linebackers have been stepping up and playing well. And again, DB's wicked season so far.
Yeah, Montreal's not very good at running the ball, and they're not very good at establishing the running game.
Yeah, that
So,
offense has kind of gone down. Sorry to interrupt with the receivers that
yeah,
have gotten injured for them as well,
absolutely.
right? So yeah, it's kind of taking a step back.
And they're definitely they're kind of opposite from what they were finishing the season last year. Like they
Yeah,
went on a what, 6 game winning streak or something like that to finish the
I feel like it
season?
was more than that, wasn't it? Like eight,
Possibly.
or maybe it was by the end of it was eight. I don't know, I can't remember. Like by winning the Grey Cup.
Well, with the Grey Cup and that, yeah, with
Yeah,
the
I think
games,
so.
that makes
Yeah,
sense. Something like that, 5, 6. They're not doing that this season.
no,
They're
yeah,
not
complete
looking as
opposite. They're doing like the Bombers, right? You're going into the playoffs kind of cold, and then you know the Bombers have done that only because of the end because you booked it. Even Montreal right now, right? Nothing to
yeah,
play for the last few weeks.
they
Bombers have
clinched.
been there, done that, you know, and look what happened to them in the playoffs last year playing Montreal. So it'll be interesting
Absolutely.
to see how Montreal handles it, or if they get stomped by the Argos in the East Final, or you know, kind of thing.
Well, the
Yeah,
stakes of the two teams are absolutely different. Bombers playing for home field for the finals. The
yeah,
Owls already have that.
yeah,
You know, we can
yeah. It'll be
only
good.
we can point to 2001 and look what happened at the end of the season. We can say that
Yeah,
now. It's all good.
you've always given me shit for bringing up that year, but now you bring it up.
That was pre two Grey Cups, so come on now. That's a wound that should have been open until the cup was brought home.
That wound still will never close. Still open.
Uh,
2001.
exactly. No, don't put stitches on that. Just let it fester. Um, did I do did I do defense?
No, I think I cut you off and then we went off on a different
Of
tangent.
course you did. I think if they play Davis Alexander, I think that actually gives them a better opportunity of winning the game all out if they're actually trying to win the game. But
Yeah.
I think they do have to give Claro some reps, and Alexander might get in there later on or earlier on. I think they should actually give Fajardo a half. Get him going for the playoffs because he's your start in the playoffs, isn't he?
Yeah.
And you're gonna get the bye week again on the semifinals, so you might get him a little bit of time and some confidence. Because if he has no confidence going into that final and he's gonna be cold again, who knows?
I always like for him with his claim to the MOP this year was his record as a starter. It's like that's really all he has because he started off hot and then tapered off, got injured, and hasn't really had a good second half of this season. So yeah, I agree with you. They need to kind of get him flowing. You know, unless he goes out there for a couple drives and checks a couple touchdowns and then you know, kind of thing, then yeah, he's good, right? But yeah, you might have to give him some time to get his juices back in there.
Who in the East is a better MOP candidate than Bo Levi Mitchell?
Well, nobody, but it's just
Most outstanding player. I get it. His team didn't make the. I
yeah,
get it.
exactly. But
Most outs. That's the title of the award. Outstanding. 5,000 yards and hasn't been done what in 7 years?
and for a
Just
guy who
saying.
was written off,
Just saying.
what a waste of a season, though. You know, because you never know what you're going to get from him next year. But what a waste of a season to not even make the playoffs with those kind of numbers. You
Uh,
know, that's wild. That is wild.
um,
Yeah. That's
well,
the
they
funny
started
thing is
so
who else
horribly.
is going to represent the East for that MOP? You can't. Who?
They
Like at
should
least
send him. They gotta send him. Come on now.
because you know on the West it's going to be tougher because you got Brady Oliveira, you got Roland Milligan. It's going to be up in the air, right? Plus
Yeah.
Trevor Harris having a good season. Yeah, you never know what goes on in the West, but yeah, the East is like yeah, you got to pick a guy whose team didn't make the playoffs.
And someone from the East might win the cup. Give me a break. Let's move on to special teams. Like you mentioned, with Castillo, he's got to hit those field goals. I
Yeah.
get it. Things between 40 and 49 aren't a chip shot, but uh,
Considering he's hit 50s, over 50s, no problem. Not no problem, but pretty good this
exactly,
year, right? So
exactly.
yeah, we need him on form, and he needs to go into playoffs, so, on a little bit of a hot streak as well. So it's not often where he plays two shitty games in a row, right? So he usually comes back with a vengeance and has a good bounce back the next time. So I
Yeah.
think he did the first game against Toronto. He came back and bounced back pretty good in the next one. So return game, I'm not. I mean, luckily Whitehead's doing okay, but nothing too exciting back there at all. I mean, they held Janae Grant in check, and I believe Grant also fumbled, right? So from what I remember,
And they
so
didn't score a touchdown. Cole
no,
got that fumble and they didn't put it in the end zone.
right? Yeah,
It was
exactly.
inside the 20, like at the
Yeah.
10.
Yes. Sorry for bringing that up.
That's okay. We were over that game. We were on to the
Uh,
next one. Like was it Bill Belichick? We're on to the next one. We're on to
we're on to Cincinnati.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, special teams. I don't know. They have a great returner in Montreal. Will he play? I don't know.
Yeah,
Probably
that's the
shouldn't
thing,
play.
right? Who knows? But it's a CFL. You can only not dress so many people, right?
I'm gonna bring someone off the practice roster, let them do that, something like that. I feel
But
it's
everything costs more money, so
that's true. How much money are they saving on Sean Lemon?
yeah, probably some pretty good coin there.
I'm still pissed off at that. Let them. I get it fundamentally. Okay, we've done that a couple months ago. Let's move on. Let's move on to some vintage, I guess, bomber talk, retro bomber talk, or pretty current bomber talk, depending on who your favorite defensive linemen were in bomber history. Who is your all-time bomber D line? We got two ends, two tackles. Let's start in the middle. Because we always start
Duck,
with the glory on the ends. Let's start in the middle.
yeah,
Who are your two?
the unsung heroes in the middle, right? The guys on the ends get more glory.
Of course.
Uh, Doug Brown, number one kind of thing, right? I mean, the guy was a force in the middle of that line for the Bombers for all those years.
Absolutely.
So can't go wrong there. And then Stan Mikwas, another force in the middle of that D line. So and some great cups too for both these. Well, no, sorry, not Doug Brown. Sorry, for Mikwas got a couple in there, right? So
Yeah. No, not for Doug Brown, bro.
no, it's 2001. See, now it's just
See?
in my head.
It's
It's in
fine.
there,
Fine.
stuck in there.
Pick that scab. It's fine. Uh, Doug Brown, without a doubt, Canadian, just dominant, plugging that middle. And Stan Mikkel was so good. He had a huge Grey Cup play in 1984 with an was it fumble picked up, gone to the end zone. But I'm gonna take the other D lineman who also rotated on the end too. I'm gonna go with Michael Gray with the immaculate interception. He had some great years in Winnipeg. I remember he was a beast when he played for BC. I think he was there when Roy DeWalt was there, so it was a son of gun going against him. But I'll give him his props, Michael Gray.
Yeah, right on. Can't go wrong.
On the ends, let's get this guy out of the way. Come on now. If you don't have this guy, I'm gonna be like, what? I'll go Alfred Payton.
I got Alfred Payton.
Yeah, for sure. I have Alfred Payton. And
Wasn't here for a long time, but he was here for a good time. I
he
mean,
was
put up some
dominant.
wicked numbers, man.
Dominant.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. Three stints with Winnipeg?
yeah,
Dang.
yeah. Played with the hated
Whack.
Baltimore Stallions.
Oh my God. He was so good. So good. That team was so dominant.
Yeah,
Who do you got for the other end?
I got to go with Willie Jefferson. Were we going with current guys too, or we're
Sure,
just
why
going all
not?
time? Right? Yeah, Willie Jefferson's just been a dominant force since coming over to the Bombers.
Yeah.
In back 2018, 19. I don't remember now, but yeah, he's been a force back
Yeah.
there.
Of course, Willie Jefferson. Like those two are just like probably the easiest ones to do. Blocks and sacks and energy and tackles for loss. Like, dude has it all. Like the W right there, the logo, that's for Willie.
Yeah,
As well be. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Gavin Walls too.
yeah. I had Gavin Walls written down here too, just to have
47
him on there.
sacks in 5 years with the Bombers. Rookie of the year and in 2005. Shoot, I can't remember years now. 2009. Rookie of the year and also the Bombers defensive player of the year that same year. So shout out to Gavin Walls.
Yeah, they've had some good ones.
Anyone else you want to shout out?
What was Tom Canada? He was a defensive end, wasn't he? He wasn't a linebacker, was he?
Oh no, he was an end.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he was another good one too.
Shout out to
His correct kind of career just ended in a fizzle almost after the way with the Bombers, anyways.
Yeah, it's just like he left.
Like the injuries started to take their toll on him, kind of thing. But he was so good too.
I don't remember him being ineffective.
Hmm.
I remember him always being a factor on the D line, and then he was just gone.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I'm sure
yeah,
everyone slows down, but he was just gone.
yeah. It was weird. It was just sudden kind of thing. So
It's almost like the Buffalo thing, just gone.
that's another wound that hasn't healed yet.
Okay, we'll talk about the Jets in a second. Let's just go quickly some CFL talk. CFL Power 3. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go Toronto, Saskatchewan, and Winnipeg right now, top to bottom.
Saskatchewan's getting strong.
Yeah,
Props to
they've come on
them.
strong. They're playing really well.
Then they're playing Calgary.
Yeah, so that's why Bombers need to win this game because you can't count on Calgary to win that game at all.
Even more inspiration to play hard.
Yeah,
Like, are they
exactly.
going to play PJ Walker?
I would if I were them. Why not? What do you have to lose?
See what you got.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing else is working for you right now. Just do it.
I can't believe they played
Schultz.
Schultz, Schultz,
And
Schultz.
then Bolio had thrown 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Why? Why did they play that guy? Why, man? Because they don't
No,
care.
no.
My CFL Power 3, I have Toronto, Winnipeg, and I know it's one win, but VA and
Oh.
BC, I think they're back. I think they're back. And that's a bit of a segue into this last question on CFL talk. How will the QB situation in BC shake out? Man, the only way VA stays in BC is if he wins the cup.
Yeah.
If he wins the cup, you have to keep him. If I was GM, I'd keep him and I get as many chips as I can for Nathan Rourke. Because you know, some teams or a couple teams, Calgary, are gonna give up some chips for a player like that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if he wins a cup, they're gonna trade Rourke.
Yeah, I think you would almost have to. Eh? I mean, at this point, yeah, ride with VA. VA is your guy no matter what the rest of the season, kind of thing, right? And
Mhm.
if he doesn't win the cup, then hey, yeah, then you can go back to work next year and give him off season and all that stuff. But yeah, VA wins the cup, you can't get rid of him. And no, I mean, sorry, people are going to pay that. They're not going to care. They're going to pay that contract to Rourke gladly and give you probably a couple first rounders for it. You think
Oh yeah.
Calgary's not? You're going to be like, no, we're not paying that. We're going to go back to Jake Mayer. No, not happening.
Throw Jake Mary in there.
But what a mess by Campbell there. Like even starting this all, you should have had VA, especially that Rourke wasn't playing well. There was no reason to keep him in there once VA was healthy.
That's the thing.
So,
Well,
VA's coming back to save their ass. We'll see what happens. But
yeah, man, that would be the story. That's the story
that,
right now, man. Like if someone's writing a script for the season, people always talk about scripts. That's the story. VA comes back from being injured and being displaced from the first QB1 from QB1 to win the cup at home.
yeah, but the only thing is you got to go through Saskatchewan and into Winnipeg. Either order, you're still going to both those places in cold
Hey,
November. So good luck.
that's a Zach Caleros-ish 2019 story.
Exactly, but this is different. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's different for BC, that home dome kind of team to come into two places. We'll see, obviously,
Yeah,
and anything can happen, but it'll be
I'm not
interesting.
cheering for them. Don't get me
No,
wrong,
good
but I
God,
think
no.
that's the story right now. Bomber fans, put your comments below. Give us a thumbs up, press that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Let's
Yes.
move on to some Winnipeg Jets talk. Thoughts? What's working? Concerns? When the Jets are 5-0? I don't know. What are your thoughts on these Winnipeg Jets who are 5-0?
Yeah, great start to the season. 5-0, man. You're outscoring teams 24-8. Things are going well. The power play is clicking. So far, so good this year, 43.8%. Obviously, that's probably not going to keep at that amount for the whole season, but it's good to see because this is a big piece last year that we kept complaining about, right? Special teams altogether and the power play that just wasn't helping out at all. And the Jets struggled to win games. So great start there. I love that new power play. It's always moving. Guys are moving, rotating. They're not stagnant like they were last year, where you could see the passes go across over here, back here, over here. right? Guys are just moving, and I love to watch it. I was at the San Jose game, so got to watch that in person, and that power play went off on that game, right?
Yeah,
With Ehlers, Perfetti, Scheifele, like
Wheeler
all
is
those
opening it
guys.
up.
So it was good to see, and it was good to see that live movement of it all kind of thing. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing there, and obviously Connor Hellebuck has played well, so no concerns on that part.
Connor Hellebuck is playing crazy. 4-0, 125 goals against, 9.52 save percentage. And again, that'll be a constant thread in this conversation. Like, we get it. They will come back down to earth.
Yeah,
Everything's going to even out some way. But even Comrie putting in the 39 out of 42, that's strong. So what's their goalie coach? Wade Flaherty. Shout out to that guy, always getting guys ready for that. And also you have a lot of scoring coming from other folks, like
yeah.
Appleton, your boy. Appleton, Keon's is playing strong.
Let me
Nemestikov,
just point out Appleton started hot last season too, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
tapered
yeah.
off.
And it'll all balance out. But 12 players have a goal so far
Yeah.
this season. So it's good to see a lot of lines playing well and not necessarily the first line. First line 5-on-5 scoring has not really been there yet. So again, that main concern will be the drop off. Um,
Yeah, they got to find that balance now, right? Power play goals in the 5-on-5 and find that balance where these guys, because even a lot of Ehlers points, they came on the power play as well. Perfetti, that one game, 2 goals, 2 assists, but otherwise every other game, nothing really else on the score sheet. So, but good to see Ehlers stepping up as well, playing good in the last 2 games, way better than the start of the season.
yeah.
Some big plays against Pittsburgh by him that kind of
Yes.
helped flip that game around, right? The pass to Connor to make it 2-1. Then the pinch to set up Nemestikov, right, with the late second period goal to take the 3-2 lead going into the third. And like you said, Comrie, yes, he allowed 3 goals. Obviously, 42 shots is a lot, but he made some big saves in that game to keep it from getting out of hand when it was 2-0.
Yeah.
But yeah, so good so far.
Yeah, and it's not like all of these games have been like the Edmonton game. They have faced a little bit of adversity late. Like this what's his name? Kelly Moore. He was a late tying goal against Chicago. The end of the first goal off the face-off against the Wild, rallying down two against the Pens, two overtime wins against division rivals. So they have been able to show that they have character this season. It hasn't
Yeah.
been all little rinky-dink lucky. It's been some gritty wins as well. So that's also great. And like you say, the power play looks good. The penalty kill, not quite there, but they're close to 80%. And that's kind of where you want to be, top 10 in the league. They have that, what's the coach's name again? Dean
Shanworth.
Chenoweth
Yeah.
putting in that power play. He had Carolina in the top 10 3 years in a row. So, but they're also keeping guys out of the penalty box.
Yeah, the
Number
PK.
one in regards to being, whatchamacallit, on the PK. So if they can keep that number up, then the PK doesn't have to be as consistent if they can keep guys out of the penalty box, period. None of those lazy stick penalties or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and PK it started off strong. Obviously, gave up has given up 2-1 each in the last 2 games. So, which kind of has dropped him because yeah, it's only 8, I believe. Where I had it down somewhere, but yes,
Yes, you're correct.
eight penalties total, right? So
Yeah.
that's a great start. And like you say, games have been close, games have been tough, but the San Jose game, a team that they struggled with last year, they went out and thrashed them. Like they dominated
Oh,
them.
yeah.
They were toying with them. Like that was Hellebuck's worst game of the season, watching that. But the Jets altogether were just toying with San Jose for stretches of that game. So, last year when I think they lost once to San Jose and then beat them 2-1, the other games or something.
Yeah.
So it was good to see them go out and thrash a lowly team like San Jose, and not playing down to their competition. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come this season against the bad teams kind of thing.
That has been a constant thing with the Jets, even pre-bonus, pre-Maurice going to Noel. Not that
It's
they were
Noel's fault.
expected much with Noel, you know what I'm saying? But once they started cracking things and getting things going with the was it did he ever coach in the Central? Or is Noel always in the Southeastern?
No, I think he made it to the Central and then got canned.
It's only been a couple of years that they stayed with that format, eh?
Yeah, but I mean, the Central was terrible. They should have been able to win those divisions at the time,
Well, they did
but they
have
just
Chicago.
No, I'm sorry, not the Central, the
Southeast,
Atlantic or whatever the heck it was.
Southeast,
Southeast, yeah, whatever the heck it was
Washington.
called at the time. Norris Division, like these
And
names.
Norris. Oh, but we're kind of back in the Smythe? Not really.
Smythe, yeah.
Which way? Let's move ahead to the week coming up for the Jets. The week ahead, Blues, Kraken, Flames, Leaf. How do you see that going on? What will the record be? Who needs to step up? How do you see these games going?
Well, speaking of one guy I want to kind of see step up, Velarde, Gabe Velarde's had a nice start to the season, has opportunities, but right now is only sitting at 3 assists and a goose egg in the goal department. So I'd like to
Yeah.
see him be able to start getting that rolling. And like we say, that 5-on-5, especially with that top line, needs to get going as well. Even though Scheifele and Connor have 9 goals together, like you say, a lot of it's not 5-on-5. So Velarde, let's see what he can do. In terms of who they're playing, Blues are hit and miss, right? Jordan Binnington has started off weak. Terrible season to start, really, for him. Under 900 save percentage, whereas Joel Hofer has played really well and is at 932. So, hopefully, hopefully we see Bennington in this one because Hofer has played really well. But yeah, the Blues are strong. They got 2 goals, 2.8 goals for and 2.8 goals against. So they're kind of middle of the pack, but sit at 4-2. So I can see the Jets taking at least the games against the Blues. I would say 3-1 even on this trip. Toronto, it's not till next week, Monday, but that might be the tougher one. I know Calgary sometimes going into Calgary, they have a tough time, but hopefully the way they're playing, but will they actually be 8-0 though? Going into Toronto?
No, I don't think
Probably
so.
not. Well,
I
not.
don't think so. I'm going to be a little more conservative. I'm going to go 2-2. I think they're going to bookend these 4 games. I think they will take the game against the Blues. The Blues need these will be 2-4, like you're there saying. The goal differential is just right there, right down the middle. So I think the Jets will take that one. The Kraken, they're a solid start, and they're rolling again with 4 lines, like they
Yeah,
looked a couple
that's what they are,
seasons
right?
ago.
Yeah.
And I think they'll give the Jets some trouble. And then, of course, they're going to the Pacific time zone, which has been an issue sometimes. Maybe mentally for a fan, maybe that's what it is. And I don't like staying up for a game, but any which way. Then they got the Flames who are also starting hot. They don't have I don't think it matters as much not having a clear-cut number 1 goalie yet, or maybe at all,
No.
especially after what Vegas did. And they won the cup with multiple goalies. I think if you have 2 decent goalies that you can pay $2 to $3 million for, or whatever it is, I think you can be just as competitive as New York has Shesterkin,
Yeah,
at this
there's
point.
always going to be, especially with those goalies, you're still kind of waiting for one of the guys to step up and take the reins.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can go back and forth. Like you say for the Flames, Dustin Wolf is playing better than Vlader. But maybe in 5, 10 games from now, it's going to be the opposite way around.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of tandem, even with St. Louis, Hofer, and Biddington. It could be the same kind of thing, right? Seattle right now has got Joey Decord as their main guy, as Grubauer is the backup and hasn't played as well either, kind of thing. So it may depend quite a bit on who the Jets get as the goalie, who they're facing, right?
Absolutely.
Because there's
Absolutely.
these teams right now have a good goalie and a bad goalie. And besides the Leafs coming in on next Monday, they got Stellares right now with Wool out, and Stellares has been playing well. So
Playing well.
yeah, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they get to face in that.
I think that the Jets will take that one against the Leafs.
It's
After the
at
two
home.
losses and
Leafs.
Kraken against Calgary, I think they'll take the Leafs at home. I think that'll be a wake up. They'll be at home, a little more comfortable. I'd like to see Logan, not that Logan Stanley has played bad. He had his shot. Uh, he'll get a shot again in one of these games for sure. I think he has to step up, and I think he has a great opportunity with a solid guy like Colin Miller. And I think that first line has to step up, like we say, with that 5-on-5 play. They were outscored last year, and that imbalance was evident against Colorado in the first round of the playoffs. So they got to get going 5-on-5 soon.
I was kind of surprised. I get it because Stanley hasn't played at all in a long time in that, but to throw him in there when I thought Hayden Fleury had been playing pretty well, him and Miller had been pretty good together. So it was interesting to see, I guess, to get him a game in there, but he ended up playing 2, right? So
Yeah. What was it,
that
two?
I believe it was 2, right? Wasn't it?
Okay.
The
I
San
thought
Jose
the
one
last
and
game,
then
I
the
thought the
Pittsburgh
Panama
one.
game was his first one, but my bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in against San Jose as well. I could be wrong. It's not often that I am.
Let's go to
So the
star
Jets, sorry,
five.
but so the Jets will not be 8-0, you said, going into Monday?
No, no, they're gonna drop 2. They're gonna
Who thinks the Jets will be going 8-0? Drop it in the comments.
Some people's playing 82-0 for fun. I know I get it, but
Well,
still.
yeah, that's getting a little crazy.
Oh, I think like 20-0 is crazy. Let's go for 8. Any which way. Star prime performer, tip of the glass, tip of the can, tip of the stein. You go first. Might have
You
the
know
same,
what? Hey,
might have the same guy.
yeah, I mean, there's a few options. The guys have some good weeks. I gotta give it to Connor Hellebuck though. Like you said,
Hey,
1.25 goals against, 952 save percentage. Got the shutout in there as well. Um, so yeah, I gotta give it to him.
I'm gonna go with Nick Ehlers.
Yeah,
4 points against the Sharks, solid games against the Pens to help wake up that second line. He's setting up some goals beautifully. His work behind the net is crazy. Scott Arniel called him a game breaker. We talked about him in the offseason, or maybe it was at the end of last season, about him maybe him being effective with a little less ice time, where he can just give or go when he has the opportunity. And right now, at the pace he's at, he has a little less ice time than last year. So maybe he has a little more juice to make those opportunities happen. He draws penalties as well. So, and he's great at keeping possession in the opposition zone. He's just having a crazy start of the year. So I'm going to go with Nick Ehlers.
yeah, you can't go wrong there. The two passes he made yesterday, the Connor one and then the one to Nemestikov were fantastic, right? And
Yeah.
they're both great plays by him too to get into the zone, make that pass to Connor, to keep the puck in the zone, beat that Pens player, and then deke around the guy, diving across the ice. Yeah, he's been performing well, and I think the Jets may regret not probably looking at make a deal with this guy and signing him, but yeah, we'll see with the ice time. I get it. Right now, it's working. Stick with it. But
Yeah.
you know, he's playing well. And the funny thing is, even with the power play time, his time has gone down, like you said, right? Because now he's
Yeah.
getting first line minutes.
You can't drop that second line.
No.
You can drop that second line. The only way that happens if they do a flip between Connors and Ehlers.
Yeah, that's
So
probably not
no.
happening right now. That Scheifele and Connor have been playing well together.
Yep.
Defensively, all around kind of thing. Yes, here and there they're going to make mistakes and that, but they got a chemistry, man, and it's hard to break that up, right?
Yeah.
As much as sometimes I want to see it too, they got that chemistry. It's crazy.
Let's go old school and current school and new school, whatever. Favorite Jets goalies. We get to pick three. I'll go first with one. I'll go with Bob Essenza. I
Yep.
really liked his style. He was solid in net, nothing flashy. You just knew he was there from post to post. He wasn't huge. He wasn't a huge body in the net either.
No.
He's just a solid goalie, a workman's type goalie.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that one for sure. I mean, he put in some good years for the Jets. Unfortunately, once playoffs came around, he kind of got screwed a couple times in terms of that. But just yeah, he played well. I mean, he gave this team a chance, and obviously, I mean, his name became even more famous with the call from Kurt Kielbach, right? So
Yeah.
is the first goalie as a first Jet goalie because obviously he had tons that I kind of looked up to and admired kind of thing because he was actually very good compared to some of the other Jets goalies that they had.
Who else you got there?
Oh, we'll keep going beyond that year. Then we'll go Nikolai Habibulin.
Oh,
Obviously not a lot of
yeah.
years here in Winnipeg because then they ended up moving, but the 2 years here and especially the last one, he was the reason why they made the playoffs and made a run and stole some games against Detroit. So he was always fun to watch.
Was he called the Bulin Wall in Winnipeg?
The Bulin, well, yeah, pretty sure. I mean, yeah, he's the only reason he survived that game against Detroit in the playoffs. So
Ah, Abby Bulin. I'm gonna go with Connor Hellebuck. Probably the best Jets goaltender of all time. We've never had an all-world multi-Vezina winning goalie ever in Winnipeg Jets history, so he has to be number one.
yep.
I didn't want to name him number one, but I think he's number one.
Yeah, I agree. He's my last goalie on here. And like Gretzky always said, the biggest reason and a lot of things was the Jets couldn't beat the Oilers and make those playoff runs was because of goaltending, right? The goaltending just did not stand up for the Jets in the playoffs. And unfortunately, Connor Hellebuck right now, he's had some good runs earlier, but the last couple playoffs haven't been good. But yeah, he's definitely my all-time favorite kind of thing, and especially being 2.0 and the way the guy's played and the way the guy carries himself kind of thing. It's funny because we are at that San Jose game which was a Hellebuck night, and everyone's chanting and cheering and celebrating the guy. There's a video on the screen, and you could just tell the guy Hellebuck was probably okay. This is enough. Let's get back to the game. I need to
Yeah.
focus.
Y'all get a picture with the Jennings and the Vezina?
Yes, we did. Yeah,
Of course.
yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Shout out Eldon Pokey Reddick. Jets fans, put your favorite goalies in the comment section below. Also, Stefan Beauregard. I really liked him.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna shout out Pokey, you got to do the Bandit too, right?
Yes.
Rick Tabaracci had that magical run until it all fell apart. Andre Pavlik, of course, everyone's
Tabby.
favorite.
And of course, Chevy.
Yes. Yeah. And we traded for Assenza, right? Assenza was supposed to go to Detroit and win a cup. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for him.
He probably would have too. That
Yeah.
team is ridiculous.
Yeah, I
That
can't
team
believe
is
they did not win.
ridiculous.
I can't believe they didn't win. I was happy because I wanted Assenza to win a cup, and then I couldn't believe they didn't make it anywhere.
What the didn't the Jets have Chris Draper?
Yes.
And what they traded him to Detroit.
For $1, apparently, the story is.
And he was one of the key cogs of that championship.
Oh yeah, he was key cog.
Championship.
That's the funny thing is you got this grinder guy and you got all these superstars on that freaking team, but Draper was that glue. He was a good guy. Like he was a big factor in that team. It's crazy.
Wow.
Mike Smith, right?
Jets fans, put your oh my God, go on and on. Brian Hayward too. Old school.
Yeah, he was old school.
Joe Daly, Sports Shop.
Yeah,
Is
I
he
didn't get to
Buffalo?
see it. Well, I didn't see him play really, so right because that was before our time.
Like there's a
I mean,
Bufflin like memorabilia signing, but not an actual meet Bufflin signing going on at Joe Daly's.
no, yeah, private signing. You can send stuff in and get it signed.
Private.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, they'll be the only ones who are with Bufflin at the time signing it, right? You don't get to see
Yeah.
him.
That'd
I
be
want to see the guy. You ever think they're gonna do it? You ever think he would come and do a Brian Little night like Brian Little just did yesterday? Just come skate on the ice and all that stuff. You think they'll ever
Oh,
get Bufflin?
he's not gonna put gear on and skate on the ice. Like, no, he
You
will not do that.
will he ever come back for a night to celebrate Dustin Bufflin?
I can see a Dustin Bufflin night, and maybe he's in like a box getting drunk and not
Yeah,
walking on the ice or doing any of the puck drop or anything. He's just there.
I don't see it ever happening. I don't think he'll ever agree to it.
He deserves to, but for
Oh
sure.
yeah, for sure.
And that game would sell out.
Oh yeah.
It would
Yeah, if the
sell
Jets
out.
want to if the Jets want to be able to pay for see costs in that, they just can up the cost of that game and people would go crazy buying those tickets.
Dustin Bufflin. Shoot,
You'd have to throw a whiteout party probably if they had a Dustin Bufflin night.
that'd be insane, man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go watch some Dustin Bufflin clips now. Compilation of him just going nuts and ragdolling two guys at one time.
Just fantastic.
Let's look at the NHL Canadian Power 3. Who do you got? Who do I got? I got Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton.
I got Winnipeg, Calgary, and Toronto so far. Good game or good games for Toronto. Edmonton's struggling out of the gate again.
They are, but they've won two of their last three, and they're starting to get back into the groove. And yes,
But they
Toronto
just lost. Well, they lost
had
to Dallas. Sorry, but that's Dallas is a good team.
tonight.
No, yesterday I think it was
Oh yeah, Dallas is a good
this
team.
weekend. Yeah,
Son of a gun. Yeah, and Toronto, yeah. I just pick them to go deep in the playoffs, and when I see them win two out of three, I'm starting to go on that train. But Toronto
yeah.
was there. Toronto was there.
It's interesting times again in Edmonton because again, starting off slow, goaltending problems, issues, questions, right? So it'll be interesting to see where that turns around and where it goes.
And like Calgary, like again, I can say the same as Winnipeg. You don't
Yeah,
know. You don't
yeah.
know when it's
The bubble is gonna burst at some point for Winnipeg and Calgary, kind of thing, right?
yeah.
Winnipeg's not winning with this many games all the time. I can't see it happening. So, and if they do,
Well,
hey, fantastic. I hope they do. I hope they keep
hey,
going.
on the journey to what 110,
Yeah.
the bubble really didn't burst until like the All-Star break-ish.
Yes. Yeah, that's where it always seems to break for the Jets in the last few years, right? After
Son,
Christmas, All-Star break, it's like, what the heck is going on?
Okay, so let's enjoy it while it goes right now, not worry about it until the bubble does break, and
Let's
then
go undefeated until that time.
oh my gosh, you said undefeated. Now it's never gonna happen. Benny, have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and follow, and go Bombers, go Jets, go.
And in the famous words of Babe Ruth, never let the fear of striking out get in your way.
Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.